South Adelaide Panthers Football Club, in partnership with O'Sullivan Beach Sports and Community Centre, are developing youth to play senior football. Give your child the opportunity to join the Panthers Football Academy and be coached by former Socceroo and Adelaide City striker Steve Maxwell. Phone Jim McGuinness on 0413 600 315.
Here we go.
Welcome back to Full On Football with our guests Donald Campbell and Simon Catanzaro for this week's show. Fellas, as we touched on at the beginning of the show, very, very sad news where one of our SA legends of football, Nick Pantelis, passed away this week, and a big, huge loss to South Australian football.
Absolutely, one of the all-time greats of South Australian, inducted into the Hall of Fame in the very first year it was opened up, and Nicky deserved it. And of course he played for South Australia on 25 occasions, mostly against foreign opposition, and he scored against the great Russian goalkeeper Yashin, and he scored plenty of goals for South Australia. But my goodness, wasn't he wonderful for West Adelaide when they were one of the top sides in Australia? Nick Pantelis was up there with the very best of them.
Most definitely. Now, we've in honour of Nick, we've made up a little bit of a slide to show you some of the statistics on what he did. As Donald said, he represented South Australia 25 times from 1966 to 71. He was the state's leading goal scorer in 1966 with 19 goals, 71 with 17 goals, and 73 with 16 goals. He played for Hellas, winning Championship, Federation Cup, Ampol Cup and Coca-Cola Cup medals, so fantastic on his behalf. And he was inducted into the South Australian Football Hall of Fame in 2003, the inaugural induction, as a member for meritorious performance. A wonderful man, not only was he a great player, he was a coach, he's a life member of South Australian football, and a great, sincere and humble man, Donald.
And had a great deal of sense of humour. I can tell you one game just recently, about 2 years ago, when Didier Drogba signed for Chelsea and all this business of him being a diver, Nick came up to me and said, "Donald, do you remember? I was the #1 diver in Australia." You know, as soon as he got to the penalty area, Nick was reputed to dive in the penalty area, but he did admit it, and he was such a great character. He had that sense of humour that he made light of everything. But when he played, my goodness, what a great player he was. He had Pantelis and Zervis and you know, so many other great players in there, as you know them all, Magaki, Pillins, etc. And if they could get the ball out to the right wing, Nicky would get it into the middle, or he would score himself, because he was such a prolific goal scorer, as you quite rightly said, Natalie. 3 years, not 3 years no, but 3 years he was a top goal scorer here in South Australia. When we had a lot of foreign players, must be remembered, most of the players nowadays are young Australian players. In the days when Nick came, there was a lot of Greeks, Italians, Croats, Serbs, Scots, English, etc. Italians, mustn't forget Italians, of course. But no, he was at top of the tree at that time, and a great character, and we will miss him very sadly. And condolences to all of his family. Yes,
most definitely. And just an interesting note here, Simon, you might like to know that from the years of 1966 until 1971, the top goal scorers were all Hellas players. 66 was, of course, Nick Pantelis. 4 years straight, from 67 to 1970, was Tony Batchelor. Then Nick again in 1971. Waterloo in 72, I think he was from Beergrad, was he?
Billy Waterloo, yeah.
And then 73, Nick Pantelis again. So, you know, what a powerhouse. We said powerhouse, they definitely were, Simon.
Absolutely, and I think some of the Greek-backed clubs going around right now would love to have a couple of those goal scorers in their team, and for some of the clubs, helping with promotion.
Yeah, so again, we do pass on all our condolences. And we were saying there's so many of the past players, opponents, teammates were all there at his funeral. What a sad way to meet up again at someone's funeral. Why aren't we doing something like an annual dinner for all our players, past, current and future players? I think it's something that we have to, as a football community, recognise and organise something like this so players can get together before we lose many more of them. And I think it's something we have to think about.
That would be a wonderful challenge to the FFSA for them to organise such a function. I'm quite sure you would get 1,000 people, Natalie, because there's a lot of interest in it, and a lot of people have said in the past, but the bottom line is who's going to run it, and that's it. I think the FFA are starting to move forward. They're starting to get their act in order, very professionally, I would have to say, under Michael Carter, and I think Michael might, if he could pull one out the bag, this would be a fantastic occasion. Seeing all these galaxy of stars at the funeral today was fantastic, and they came from Johnny Perrin, Ilya Marusic, blokes from all different clubs, and honouring one of our all-time greats in Nicky, and it would be great to see us doing it on a regular basis for sure.
Oh, I know that's going to be something that I'm going to be chasing up and looking at, because I think we need to have it for these players to get together and celebrate what they've done in the past and what they're doing now. So also I just want to say in Greek, θα σε θυμάμαι πάντα. So we wish all the best to the Pantelis family and our big, most humblest wishes of sympathy. I also want to say hello to Bobby Dale, who's recently had an operation in hospital. He's recovering, and a big long road to recovery for him, and we wish him all the best. Also, I'd just like to say that if you want to take up the call to arms to fight cancer, have a look on the FFSA website. There is a chance for your club to be registered. You wear a yellow armband during the month of May, and we can try and help fight this horrible disease. I'd also like to say thank you to everyone who has been emailing me about the show. I've been getting a lot of emails. We're now on YouTube. John De Palma, that does the camera work for me on some occasions, is putting it onto YouTube, getting a lot more people being able to watch it and getting some fantastic feedback. So thank you very much. Also, if you need to get information, I always say look at the FFSA website. This is where you get all your information, club information, game information, any changes, fixtures, tables, results. Please do so on ffsa.com.au. And if you want to contact us, you can do so the following way. You can email us on adamna@optusnet.com.au, write to us at Full On Football, PO Box 319, Henley Beach 5022, or call me on 0421 507 948. We thank our sponsors that sponsor our show, that you see in our commercials, and without them we could not exist. Fellas, thank you very much for again joining us on the show. Donald, I really appreciate your fantastic contributions, and thank you again for contributing to Full On Football and to football in general.
You'll be getting my invoice in the post. Thank you. It's a great pleasure to be involved.
I'll put another zero to your pay package. And Simon, you're doing great guns lately. Again, keep on pumping, and all the best, and thanks again for supporting us.
Thanks for having me on again. Pleasure.
Cheers. Remember, the show's repeated on Saturday morning at 9:30, and if you don't catch us, at 11:30 if you don't catch us on Friday nights. Good luck on the weekend, and remember, don't run on empty, get full on football. Good night.
Here we go.